Okay, so uh, you've brought us this really interesting collection of sources today, all basically hammering home one point. The AI revolution isn't coming. It's already here.
It really is, and moving incredibly fast.
Yeah, you can feel it changing things already, can't you? How we work, how we live, our society, the whole economy, really. It's exciting stuff, definitely.
Exciting, maybe a little unsettling too. There's some big questions swirling around.
Good. Which is why we wanted to do this deep dive, right? Using your sources here, let's try and unpack this whole thing.
Sounds good. We need to understand the tech, the economics, how society's shifting, the ethics, all of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what the future might hold depending on, the choices we make. We got various perspectives here, including some really detailed research from Kevin Brake, who spent a lot of time studying these impacts.
Right, he has. So where should we start? Maybe the technology itself? What's actually driving this revolution?
Good idea. Because the sources point to some, frankly, amazing progress lately. Key areas like machine learning, natural language processing, NLP, computer vision, robotics.
Yeah, those are the big ones. And they're not just abstract concepts anymore.
No, not at all. I mean, these advances let AI systems do things that honestly felt like science fiction not that long ago, things only humans could do.
Like NLP you mentioned. Think about those chatbots you can actually have a decent conversation with now.
Oh, yeah. Or computer vision AI identifying objects in photos, videos, understanding complex scenes.
And AI helping robots navigate, messy real-world places, not just controlled factory floors. Or autonomous driving. That's a huge one relying on this.
Totally. These breakthroughs, they're really the foundation, the engine, as you said, behind this whole AI revolution we're seeing.
So that's the how. Now, what's the economic impact? This is where things get really interesting and pretty complex based on these sources.
Right. There's this massive opportunity side. AI is, fundamentally changing industries. Automating routine tasks, yeah, but also optimizing operations in ways we couldn't before.
And sparking totally new products and services. The sources mention things like making supply chains way more efficient.
Or creating those super personalized marketing campaigns you see everywhere now.
Exactly. And there's a specific point in the sources about AI predicting inventory needs, for example. That doesn't just save time, it cuts operational costs significantly. It's about smarter predictions leading to growth.
Okay, so that's the huge potential upside. Huge productivity gains, economic growth. But then the sources immediately bring up the other side of the coin.
The challenge, job displacement, it's kind of the elephant in the room, isn't it?
It really is. As AI gets better and cheaper at doing jobs humans do now, well, what happens to those people?
And this is where Kevin Brake's research, which you brought up, offers a pretty critical view. He talks about the disruption being different this time.
How so?
Because of the speed and the continuous nature of it, AI keeps evolving relentlessly. It's not like the Industrial Revolution where changes happened over, generations.
Right, this is much faster.
Much faster. And this constant need to upgrade skills could make jobs obsolete incredibly quickly. Brake even introduces this provocative idea of a potential useless class.
Which sounds harsh, but he means people struggling to keep retraining, right? Not actually useless people.
Exactly. People who find it incredibly hard to keep up when the skills they just learned might be outdated again in a few years. It's a tough cycle.
And that comparison to the Industrial Revolution is stark in the sources. They suggest this pace might just, outstrip our ability to adapt, needing constant learning just to stay employed.
Now, the sources do acknowledge new jobs will appear, things we probably can't even imagine yet, like AI trainers or specialized data analysts.
Sure, new roles always emerge.
But the transition, that could be really, really difficult for a lot of people. And finding that balance, between pushing for growth and helping the workforce adapt, that's a major challenge highlighted by Brake and others.
There's another risk mentioned, too, about behavior. If AI learns from a society that's, say, cynical or focused only on power.
It could become manipulative itself, amplifying those negative traits. It learns what it sees.
Okay, let's pivot a bit to how this is actually changing daily life. Because it's not just about jobs and the economy. It's touching, pretty much everything.
Healthcare is a fantastic example the sources use. Predictive analytics spotting diseases way earlier.
Yeah, like that specific example they gave AI identifying someone's heart disease risk before any symptoms showed up. That's incredible. Allows doctors to step in much sooner.
Absolutely life-saving potential there. And personalized medicine, too. Tailoring treatments based on your specific data, your genetics, advanced diagnostics. It's really transformative.
And you see it in other areas too, right? Education, personalized learning tools, adapting to each student.
Finance, much better fraud detection. Entertainment, those recommendation algorithms that know what you want to watch almost before you do.
Yeah, sometimes disturbingly well. But the sources also flag the downsides here. Privacy, security, these are big concerns.
Definitely. If AI is crunching through all this sensitive data, your health records, your finances, how do we make sure it's safe? How do you know your data is protected? That's a question the sources pose directly.
Yeah, it's a crucial one. And it leaks back to that broader point, doesn't it? That AI's impact isn't just technology. It's tangled up with our social structures, our culture.
Our psychology even, how we react to it, how we integrate it.
Which leads us straight into the ethical minefield and the whole regulatory debate. The sources really dig into this.
They have to. We're talking about bias potentially baked into these systems. Who's responsible when an AI makes a bad call? Lack of transparency. How do these things even reach their decisions sometimes?
Right, the black box problem.
Yeah.
And the potential for misuse is scary. Deepfakes getting more realistic, surveillance tech becoming more powerful.
Yeah. It raises that fundamental question, one, the source's voice, from the perspective of an ordinary person. How can you trust an AI decision about your loan or your medical treatment? How do you know it's fair, not biased because of the data it learned from?
So governments, organizations, they're all scrambling to figure this out, trying to build frameworks for responsible AI.
Yeah, trying to find that sweet spot between ensuring fairness, protecting privacy, establishing accountability, but without, killing the innovation that everyone's excited about.
That's a really tough balancing act.
It is. And the conversation is definitely still unfolding. There's no easy answer yet.
And digging a bit deeper, there's this fascinating point in the sources, drawing on Brink's work and others, about AI lacking consciousness.
Right. It's intelligent, incredibly so, but it doesn't have this inherent drive for, say, truth.
So the concern is
Why?
that it might just amplify human biases or delusions it finds in the data.
Potentially, yeah. Instead of seeking objective truth, it might just reflect back our own flawed thinking, our power struggles. The sources suggest that focusing only on making AI smarter, without considering consciousness or values, could lead us down a risky path. We might be optimizing for the wrong things.
Which brings us to trust. That seems to be a huge recurring theme in these materials.
Absolutely critical. Several sources point out that if we already have a deficit of trust in institutions, in each other, AI could make things much worse.
But conversely, building trust is key to navigating this.
Yes. Trust is presented as essential for developing AI that's actually beneficial and for building societies that can handle these rapid changes without fracturing.
Is there an example of how that might work?
Well, they mentioned Taiwan's Polis platform. It's used for online democratic discussion, but the interesting part is how its algorithms are apparently tweaked.
How so?
They're designed to reward content that actually helps build consensus between different groups, rather than just amplifying outrage or division. It's an example of designing tech intentionally to foster trust.
That's interesting. So tech can be designed to help bridge divides, not just widen them.
It suggests it's possible. And it connects to another idea in the sources that humans aren't just about power or cynicism. We also have compassion. We seek truth. We want connection.
And a society that values those things.
Is maybe better equipped to steer AI in a positive direction, to build AI that reflects those better aspects of our nature.
Okay, so pulling all this together, what about the future? Where are we headed? The sources seem to say it's still very much up for grabs.
Definitely. It's early days, relatively speaking. The future path depends heavily on the choices we make now, collectively.
So what are the strategies for, navigating towards a good future?
A lot comes back to adaptation. Kevin Brake's point about constant upgrading, that's not just for the machines.
It's for us too, individuals, societies.
Yeah.
We need to embrace lifelong learning to keep up.
Exactly. And the sources stress that society needs to invest seriously in retraining programs, scalable ones, accessible ones. Otherwise, you risk leaving huge numbers of people behind.
That historical lesson from the Industrial Revolution comes up again here, doesn't it? That C- grade.
Yeah, the warning is clear. If we manage this transition as poorly as that one, but at today's accelerated pace, the social disruption could be immense, catastrophic even.
There's also a point about democracy and speed, right? Traditional systems like elections are slow correctors.
AI moves much faster, but the sources float this idea. Could AI, if designed right, actually help democratic processes adapt? Maybe speed up consensus building or information processing?
Like that Taiwan example again.
Yeah.
If it's built for trust.
It could potentially enhance societal learning and adaptation. It's a big if, but it's out there.
And global cooperation is mentioned too.
Yeah, the idea that maybe, just maybe, seeing the shared dangers of unchecked AI could push countries towards working together more. To slow down a potential AI arms race, buy us all some time to figure out safety and adaptation.
It's a complex picture. Lots of risks, but also maybe some reasons for optimism.
I think so. The sources do end on that note. Humanity's tackled huge challenges before. Famine, pandemics, major wars.
We find ways through.
We do. And the idea is, if we actively focus on rebuilding trust and commit to this constant adaptation, upgrading our skills, our systems, then maybe we can harness AI, maybe build something genuinely better. Perhaps, as one source speculates, the best society in history.
It's quite a thought. And it brings us back to that quote from Kevin Brake you mentioned earlier.
Right. We all need to consider how AI will impact our daily lives now and in the future. It's not just an abstract tech issue.
No, it's deeply personal, affecting everyone. And fostering that trust, investing in adaptation, those seem like the immediate crucial steps.
Absolutely. Where we need to start.
So, wrapping up our dive into these sources, we've covered a lot of ground. The incredible tech, the economic shakeup, both opportunity and risk, the way it's changing everyday life, and these deep ethical questions around trust and control.
It really leaves us with a powerful final thought, drawing from everything we've discussed. Given that AI, right now, learns incredibly fast but lacks consciousness, lacks that innate drive for truth or compassion, how do we, as conscious humans who do value those things, make sure the AI we build ends up reflecting the best of us?
Instead of just amplifying our flaws, our biases, our delusions.
Exactly. How do we embed those positive values into the systems we create?
That really feels like the central challenge, doesn't it? A huge question to keep wrestling with.
It absolutely is, and something for everyone listening to think about.
Definitely. If you want to explore these ideas further yourself, there are good resources out there. Look for established technology references online, university research centers focusing on AI and society, or reputable news archives that track these developments. Just be mindful of the sources, of course.
And we genuinely love to hear your thoughts. What resonated most with you from this discussion? What questions are still buzzing around your head?
Yeah, please do like this deep dive if you found it useful and drop a comment below. Let us know what stood out.